Hey guys, it's Deen. I wanted to give everyone a heads up that there might be minor spoilers in this review, but I did try my best to speak about and show things that wouldn't really ruin the experience for you if you wanted to go in blind. When I first started playing New Pokemon Snap, I had a clear vision in mind of what kinds of details to look for and what I would be interested in figuring out, because I knew I'd be uploading a video about this game. For those of you who don't know, my first time playing the original Pokemon Snap was 1 week before the new one came out. Link to my video on the Nintendo 64 Pokemon Snap game below. I recommend you watch that review before this video. I wanted to make sure I understood what New Pokemon Snap was going to offer as an upgrade 22 years in the making. And while I am going to share my thoughts on the game, I wanted to address the Dawn fan in the room and talk a bit about the larger Pokemon fanbase and the gaming community in general. Before I begin, if I could ask you to please like and subscribe to this video and feel free to comment, as any of those three things will help my channel grow and I'll be able to release more content and get to some of the juicier video ideas I created this channel for. It's very motivating to me whenever I get a subscriber, and I appreciate all of the encouraging comments as well. Thanks. Anyway, it seems to me that as a gaming community, we tend to be very polarizing and extreme about certain video game franchises. As a result, we either tend to claim every game in our favorite franchise is the greatest game ever released, or that it's an absolute dumpster fire and the publisher should sell the rights to the game. It tends to create a lot of toxicity and endless back and forth between the gaming community. This is obviously highlighted in the larger franchises. The one that tends to stick out to me the most is Sonic, as that series of games has been a video game civil war for almost 2 decades now, but it's also prevalent amongst the Pokemon fanbase. Now, I'm not saying don't have an opinion on games. In fact, if you dislike a game, it's completely up to you to not play it. There are literally genres of games I wouldn't even consider playing because I've tried them 2 or 3 times and it didn't gel with me. But if you're going to discuss or review a game, at the very least it should be a legitimate review or discussion. Not liking a game doesn't mean it's a bad game, it just might not be the game for you. And unless a game is so clearly poorly made and filled with glitches or pay-to-win features or any other details that could potentially ruin the experience, it's usually not worth a 0 out of 10. That being said, I understand that game reviews are subjective and everyone has a right to their own opinion. However, the reason I'm rambling on about this is because New Pokemon Snap, in my opinion, is not a 0 out of 10 game. It's not a game that is not worth anybody's money, and people that enjoyed this game are not wrong to enjoy it, just like others are not wrong for disliking it. I saw average reviews for this game floating around the 8 out of 10 score, and I think that's a reasonable score. Whether or not the game is actually worth $60 is completely subjective. To some it may be, to others it's not. It's all contingent on how you quantify the value of your gaming experience. One thing I'll note before I get to my review is that this game and its predecessor are unique experiences. I haven't played anything like Pokemon Snap before this past month, and it's nice to pick up my controller and experience something new, rather than all the genres that have repeated themselves over the years based off what's popular at the time. Perhaps it's the nostalgia talking, but it reminds me of the days where everyone's gaming library was unique and didn't always have the same 3 or 4 genres of games. There's value in freshness, and Pokemon Snap, if nothing else, is a fresh experience. Now, to be very straightforward about this, New Pokemon Snap is essentially just more Pokemon Snap. It's what you would expect if someone took the 1999 classic and released it on current gen hardware, a practice that's not unheard of to the Pokemon gaming community. But what may come to a surprise to Pokemon fans is the way the Pokemon fit in with their environment and the animations they display as they react to their environment. This was similarly the case back in the original Pokemon Snap, but this time it's running on high definition with a gorgeous art style. The set pieces in this game are very relaxing. Relaxing, by the way, is probably the best way I could describe the Pokemon Snap experience. It's not an intense game, rather a game played leisurely. There are certain moments where you'll find yourself trying to get the perfect picture on just the right angle, but those moments are far and few in between. One of the biggest changes that stuck out to me in New Pokemon Snap was the attitude and character of the Pokemon. In the OG version of the game, there was more humor involved in the Pokemon's personalities. Whacking them on the head with an apple or throwing a Pester Ball at them usually led to a very animated reaction, not too dissimilar to the Pokemon anime. That was one of the things I enjoyed most about the original, and it's definitely something I wish I saw more of here. That being said, what New Pokemon Snap brings to the table is a new sense of realism. I'm obviously not going to pretend a Pokemon world run by 10-year-old protagonists is even remotely real, but when you're in the various set pieces the game provides you, watching the Pokemon interact with their environment, it almost feels like you're on a safari in the wild taking pictures of animals in their natural habitat. The game nails it with the atmosphere. This game best plays in the dark on a big screen TV with a good set of speakers. You'll feel like you're right there in the Neo 1 taking pictures of Pokemon in the Lentil region. As far as your stages go, you have your familiar environments: forests, beaches, volcanoes, reefs, deserts, and whatnot. The level design is well enough that it doesn't feel like a chore to get through any of the stages. To keep the game feeling fresh, the game has a level up score for each stage. In the previous game, if you needed to do a level over again, which is common in both of these games, you had to go through the same stage with the exact same Pokemon behaving the exact same way every time. In New Pokemon Snap, every time you level up, the behavior of the Pokemon changes and new Pokemon start to make an appearance. This means that you no longer have to rely on waiting to get a different item to experience a stage in a different way. As for items, the apple returns, but this time it's known as the fluff fruit. But honestly, I'm just going to call it an apple because that's what it is. What doesn't return, however, is the Pester Ball. It seems like somebody thinks that throwing a poisonous gas ball at Pokemon is inhumane or something. Instead, it's replaced with Illumina orbs. When you throw these orbs at the Pokemon, they glow, and sometimes they react differently than they would with the apple. Likewise, replacing the Pokeflute is the melody player, which basically has the same function. And then you get your speed boost nearing the end of the game, just like you did in the original. I might be somewhat repeating myself here, but the items in this game just didn't do it for me like they did in the original. When you threw an apple or pester ball, you used to get a much bigger reaction out of the Pokemon. It seems like in this game, all of the Pokemon have a shield around them that absorbs the hit no matter how far or close you are to them. The ball lightly bounces off their invisible force field and you get the slightest of reactions from the Pokemon. This is the same with the melody player. You used to be able to gain a strong reaction from the Pokemon by playing the Pokeflute. The melody player just doesn't feel like it has as strong an effect on the Pokemon, except for maybe one or two places. Another major loss in this game is the lack of evolutions. It wasn't that common in the original, but it used to be fun to figure out how to force a Pokemon to evolve so you can get a picture of its evolved form. That being said, I haven't fully completed this game yet. I'm at just over 150 Pokemon and supposedly there's more than 200. I'm writing this review after having played through the main campaign and a few of the extra areas. There may be an endgame where apples, Illumina orbs, and melody player are involved in puzzles more similar to the first game, creating the perfect picture or leading to an evolution, but I don't think that's the case. On your journey, you also have a scanner which is used to uncover various mysteries throughout the game or help you locate Pokemon you can't see. The scanner also causes some Pokemon to react a bit, so I found myself spamming it a lot so I can get a different pose from them. Each Pokemon now has 4 types of photos, which is indicated by a number of stars. When you take your photos, you'll have to get a picture of 1-star, 2-star, 3-star, or 4-star poses from the Pokemon. Each one differs slightly, and you can only upload one pose for each time you play a level. This definitely feels like padding, as there were times where I had 2 or 3 different poses available, but I could only send one photo to the professor, so I'd have to try and get the other poses on another run-through. As a general rule of thumb, I always sent the professor the higher starred photo if it was available, because those are supposedly harder to get pictures of. I say supposedly because one aspect that is consistent between the 2 Pokemon Snap games is that I still have no idea what the professors are looking for in these pictures. The basic stuff is laid out in front of you, size, position, other Pokemon in the photo and whatnot, but there's still so many times where I think I took a great picture and the points come out way less than the worst one I took before. It doesn't help that they seem to give you either bronze, silver, or gold stars for every picture, and I have no idea what decides it. That being said, this is what happens when you have a computer analyzing art, and I'm not sure if there's any way around it. I find Pokemon Snap most enjoyable when my goal is to take pictures of every Pokemon and all of their poses. The bronze, silver, gold ranking I ignore, and the score doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is I get the 4 pictures for each Pokemon that the professor requires, and I imagine some grinding and potential Googling will come up as I near the end of my photo decks. One of my favorite things added to new Pokemon Snap is the boss battles. Okay, I guess they're not technically battles, but at the end of each stage, you're sent to take a picture of a single Pokemon. It's not just a simple picture either. You're meant to try to figure out how to make it pose for you in the correct way. I won't get into too much detail in that regard because that might be stepping too much into the spoiler territory, but there is a puzzle aspect in some of these challenges, and I did find a lot of joy in them as the game went on. Nothing that was too difficult to figure out, but enjoyable nonetheless. There's also a nice callback to the original game with the final boss stage, which is actually one of the more underwhelming stages, but that was similar when you had to take a picture of Mew in the original game. There are also a few points in the game where you might actually have to think hard about how to get to the next level. I found myself being frustrated more than once at having to repeat a stage because I didn't find what was necessary to move on, and I like that. It wasn't like blowing up an electrode in the original, but there was a bit of problem solving involved at certain points to move on. Finally, at the end of the game, you're treated with another ability that I won't spoil since the game is new, but if I'm being completely honest, it's not that great of a feature. And you're also now able to go back to all your stages and try to fill up your photo decks. I guess technically you could always go back and do that, but now you have nothing else to do, so you might as well become a Pokemon Photo Master at this point. The professor also adds a high score for each stage, so now it's fun to see if you can beat that score, along with beating the scores of the Pokemon you've captured. Those scores are also posted on an online scoreboard so you can compare yourself with the Snap community. What you can also do is edit all the pictures you've taken and decided to save in your album. It's a nice feature, allows you to save pictures and share them online, but to be honest, that was never really my thing, so I didn't really mess around with it too much. I also like the map feature the game gives you. It shows you where you found the Pokemon you got a picture of and the route that you took. Finally, to wrap things up, I wanted to mention my favorite part of this game, and also its biggest downfall in my opinion. I loved the cutscenes. Something about playing Pokemon and seeing these animated cutscenes was really hitting home with me. What bothered me though is that they were really only there in the beginning and the end of the game. Everything in between had the generic character model saying a couple of words while you read the text boxes, which is fine, but seeing how some of the cutscenes were playing out really makes me think I'd have enjoyed the campaign a lot more if they put more effort into more of the conversations about the story. All of that being said, I don't know if I can say this game is better than the original, but at the same time, I don't think I can say it's worse either. They both have aspects where they excel in, and moments where the other one would definitely be more enjoyable to play. Ideally, this game should have been the ultimate Pokemon Snap experience that should have made the original superannuated. It probably wouldn't even have needed to do that much more, just needed a few things that the original had. But if this was someone's first Pokemon Snap game, I don't think they'd care. My same takeaway from the original Pokemon Snap is applicable here. If you're a fan of Pokemon and you want a game where they're behaving like actual Pokemon in the natural environment, this game is worth playing. It has its dull moments, but also has its great moments. The reviews claiming it's an 8 out of 10 are pretty spot on. It's a game worth picking up as long as you know what you're getting yourself into. Anyway, I think I'm going to need to step away from picture taking for a few weeks before I get back into this game. Between playing both Pokemon Snap games and making these videos, I'm starting to see Pikachus in my sleep. Plus, there's a certain party game series in the Mario universe that I've been dying to make a video or two about. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe so you can stay up to date on when I release my next video. Deen out.